hit the record. Good morning, everybody. My name is Eric Golden. I host these on a Monday and Thursday basis. I've got some new faces, new names, so I want to slow down and speed up. I want to welcome you guys here on a weekly basis. Again, I throw that out because I believe that this is the best hour you can spend out of your, whatever, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. If you had to pick 1 hour at this time, this is the best place for you to be if you're looking forward to attracting agents and potentially setting up some sort of walk-away income in the future. The cool thing about the income that you build through RevShare is you don't have to walk away to collect it. In fact, you can walk for a long time without walking away to collect the money. And then now we have a succession plan, especially with the new ICA. Be aware that there's a succession plan, and you should go in, download the form, and set up your succession for who would take over the business. God forbid you become incapacitated or pass away. Now that the company has formalized that in documentation, you do need to have a succession plan in order to have your succession plan followed. Okay, it's not a good thing to. It's like health insurance, or better yet, life insurance. Not a good thing to die without, because you can't pick it up after you're gone, unless you're in Pennsylvania, because then you can do lots of things after you're dead. With that said, let's see here. But again, I'm just making a political joke. I'm not going on a political side. Kevin, welcome. Paul, welcome. Nice to have you guys here.
Morning, Eric.
Yay. How's Mr. Hickey today? I
am well, thank you. Did you have a good New Year's?
Oh, always do. The thing that's best about the New Year's is I get to start all over again. And it's a one big do-over. I've had 62 of those, so I got pretty good experience with each and every one of them. But those of us that are brand new, I want to welcome you to the Level 1 training of Agent Attraction. My name is Eric Golden. I'm one of the 5 or 6 key leaders here at the eXp Freedom Team. I want to remind everybody that there's a special event coming up on the 11th of this month. It's a week from Wednesday of this week. It's a week from Wednesday, about 10 days out, 9 days out. And we'll make a special announcement, one that you're going to want to be there for. It's at the exact same time right now on the exact same link. So put it in your calendar. Come back, hear the big announcement a week from this coming Wednesday. I do want to remind each and every one of you, if you don't know it already, some of you just got a text and you don't even know what you're on. This is an agent attraction training. We do this every Monday. We do a level 2 version every Thursday, again, same time. On Monday and Thursday is agent attraction. Tuesday and Wednesday is more transactions. I want you to know if you come back tomorrow, this exact same time, Jeff Morrell will coordinate a mind meld. It's really just an unbelievable opportunity. It's the first Tuesday of every month, and it's all about more transactions. Monday is agent attraction. Tuesday is more transactions. And again, tomorrow there'll be a whole bunch of speakers talking about what's working in their areas. I do recommend you come back for that. Wednesday morning is lead generation. Every Wednesday, lead generation. So if you want more leads, enjoy Miss Kim. She'll direct you on how to find many of those. Again, Thursday leads us to agent attraction level 2. And the only qualification for you is if you're making calls, talking to agents, and you just want that next level of improvement. And that's what level 2 is, improving what you're already doing. If you're not doing it already, then just keep coming back to these level 1s. And then Friday, we let you loose at the company. eXp World has eye conversations and leadership. We want you to plug into that. Any of you that don't know where to find that calendar, I'm going to show you right now. Right now, it is located in freedomteamsupport.com. If you go to Freedom Team Support and you type it properly, there you go, you will see first thing that pops up is a calendar. And it shows you everything for the month of January. But I want to show everybody else some other things really important, just so you know. If you ever are going to bring agents in, once they begin the application process, you click on this middle link right here, onboarding request, and we will help them transition in. It's an unbelievable white glove experience. You already get that as no extra charge when you bring in a new agent. You're going to want to be part of that, no doubt. Don't turn it over to us. But Kim does a great job onboarding every agent. Fill out that forum. Now, if you have an agent that just came on board and you want to recognize them in Workplace, you click on the recognition request. If you brought an agent in that did his first or her first transaction, send in a recognition request. If they sponsored their first agent, send in a recognition request. You know, recognition is the thing that grown men die for and babies cry for, right? So let's remember that recognition helps us all. If you want to get your thinking straight, on the left-hand side is fill your brain bucket. It's a great opportunity for you to get lots of little audios and videos. I recommend you listen to the top 7 audios before you do the rest. They'll set the stage for everything, but there's dozens and dozens and dozens of things to listen to keep your head straight. And if you start attracting agents, you're going to need sessions to keep your head straight. Last thing I want to remind everybody before we actually get started is this right here. In the second level down here, you have more transaction recordings, and right to the right of it is Freedom Team Attraction recordings. These are the recordings for every Monday and Tuesday in 2022. Lots of really good things to go back and listen to. And our newest offering up here on the upper right, look at this, Freedom Team KV Core training. Let's make 2023 the year where you get your agents in, you get leads generated directly to through your social media, leads you don't have to pay for, leads you don't have to split commissions with. You might as well let us help you set it up and then turn around afterwards and build the mastery of KV Core on a weekly basis. Learn what to do. So at the end of this year, you're not looking for leads like you were at the beginning of last. So with that said, I went around pretty quick. Of course, we are all here because one person said yes, and we followed below that person for the last 5 years. And that's my buddy, Sean Sturrock. Sean, how you doing this morning?
Doing pretty good, my man. Fighting a little bit of a head cold, but fired up for 2023, man. And thank you again for everything you're doing. Anybody that's here for the first time, the leadership team we put together here is incredible. And to see what Eric does on a weekly basis on Monday and Thursday is amazing. Jeff on Tuesday, everybody, just we're set up for a phenomenal year. Kim Herrera has literally laid the foundation. I mean, we're really ready to take off this year. So I'm excited. I really am, Eric. Fired up for this year.
Well, thank you so much. We got Kathy on as well. Kathy always adds a little flavor at the beginning. How's Nashville, Miss Carter?
Doing great. 60 something here after a -1 last week. So go figure.
Remember, anybody that lives in the north you guys don't realize that you're realtors and you can move. I mean, you really can. There's something to do. Kim, anything? You are the Chief Admin, Operations Director for Freedom Team. Any announcements you'd like to make this morning before we actually get into our training?
No, I think you covered it. Just check out Freedom Team support and let's start 2023 and organized and ready to go.
Thank you, Miss Kim. Kim lives in San Diego. And by the way, if she ever reaches out to you, please make sure you get back to her. She's doing it for your benefit. Again, she referenced, as I did, freedomteamsupport.com. I do want to also reference in that again, if you need KV Core help or you want recordings from the past or you just want to see our calendar. But the way we interact very regularly is through Workplace. We have a private group called Freedom Team in Workplace. If you don't think you're in that group, you probably are and don't realize it. You've definitely gotten a notification from us saying, hey, click here to join the group. So if you are not in Freedom Team and you want to be, we might be able to get you shortcutted. Put your name in the chat box and just say, hey, make sure I'm in Freedom Team. And Kim will grab your name and make sure that we onboard you. Secondly, if you would like to ask a question today, you can raise your hand. It's always a good idea to do that. You can also, by the way, just chat it in the chat box. If you're driving, please don't text or write while you're driving. But if you're sedentary, we do love for you to add it in the chat box, and either Sean or Kathy or somebody will be monitoring that, making sure that I ask those or answer those questions as well. So with that said, the title today, and I have a title every week coming out, and that's in the calendar. The title today is, $132,000. I mean, understand what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about from right now. Today's title is $132,000 a year is yours. And if you're brand new, you're like, well, I'd like to get some of that money. Well, we're going to talk about all of that money. We're going to talk about you setting your sights going into 2023 because it's the beginning of the year. Knowing that your sale will set sail at the end of this year, and in it will be $132,000 worth of income that you're collecting throughout 2024. I want you to think about this. I want you to ask yourself, if you could begin to design a ship and a crew, and you were doing it today, and you had a whole year, and at the end of the year, that ship is going to set sail, and it's going to set sail with all the fuel you need to go for a year, with $132,000 coming in over the year, whether you do any transactions or not in 2024. How many of you guys going to brave the cold for the winter in 2024 if you now have a ship going through the Caribbean? That's what we're going to talk about today. And by the time we get done with this in 48 minutes, you will have every tool you need. You will have an exact strategy that you'll need. And you will have, more important than that, no excuses that any of us are going to listen to. Because the only person that will be listening to the excuses in 47 minutes will be you. Because you got to understand, you're part of 40 people, 31 people at the moment, who are all going to say in 46 minutes, yep, I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to do it. And I know exactly what to expect. So I'm going to handle those right up front so you don't have any question 45 and a half minutes from now. You have no question that you've got all the bullets you need. You know where to stop for sandwiches. You know where the medic is in case you happen to get winged by a phone call. But more importantly, you got to know this. In order to start this journey, you have to know that the mindset you have to have for the next year. And if you won't adopt this mindset, this is golden nugget number one. If you don't adopt this mindset, then it does not matter what work you do over the next year. It will not matter if you don't adopt this mindset. The mindset is this: everything happens between now and freedom. In other words, over the next year, as you begin to put into place what I'm going to ask you to start doing, and put into place activity on a daily or weekly basis that you have and you'll commit to. Again, I have no doubt in 43 minutes, you guys are going to agree to everything. But what I want to awaken you to is when you wake up tomorrow and for some reason you're just not as motivated as you were today, that's the first thing that's going to happen between now and freedom. So be aware. And the first thing is part of everything. So let me give you some others. Somebody you call is not going to answer. That's going to happen. Somebody's going to call, and as you're talking to them, they're going to hang up on you for whatever reason. That's going to happen. Somebody's going to call, and during that call, you're going to forget not only who you're talking to, but what you're supposed to be saying. That's going to happen. When that happens, you're going to be ballsy enough or bold enough to hang up the phone as if you were innocently disconnected, because you're allowed to do that and then gain your composure and call back and say, Jim, what happened? Oh, must have hung up. I want you to know everything is going to happen. You're going to say a perfect prospecting line and they're going to laugh at you. You're going to say a horrible prospecting line and they're going to say, yeah, I'm interested. You're going to talk to agents that you think would love our program and they're going to hate it. And you're going to talk to some agents that you say, there's no way I can sponsor this person, and they're going to be interested. I want you to understand that you're going into a field of unknown, but none of it's going to harm you because you're going to have golden nugget number two. Golden nugget number one is everything happens between now and freedom. And the way you survive everything is knowing golden nugget number 2. Don't worry about it. You're going to be rich. I want you to put those two together. And right now we're working on the mindset piece. In our second half hour, we're going to talk about what you actually do. Here's the problem. Most of you are relatively new to us, meaning this group. You're relatively new to Mind Methods and absolutely relatively new to me. And you come to this wanting to know the secret sauce. And the problem with the secret sauce is you miss the ingredients. You want the secret sauce. The secret sauce starts with the right ingredients. And the first ingredient is this. Expect anything and everything to happen. That way you're not surprised. And the second thing is the knowledge that as long as I understand anything and everything can happen, and by getting that to happen, it's part of the process, that means you're winning. See, if you're not getting people to hang up on you, if you're not getting people to tell you they're interested, if you're not getting people to no-show you at a Zoom, if you're not getting people to say, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't call me 6 months ago. If you're not getting all of those things happening, you're not active enough. See, I can sit here and tell you exactly what to do that works. And I can tell you exactly how to do it that works. And I can tell you exactly who to call that it would work on. But you could call the exact right person at the exact right time, saying the exact right thing, and you could have caught them at the wrong time for them. So why am I working on your mindset? The same reason that every good athletic coach starts his team with cardio. Because if you run out of wind, it does not matter how good you know how to shoot. If you run out of energy, it doesn't matter whether you think you know where you're supposed to be on the field. So I need you to hear this. Mindset is to agent attraction or recruiting, as cardio is to sports success. Now I'm going to ask the question, are any of your mindsets cardioed up enough? And the answer for most of us is they're not. So as much time as Paul Zorich, Keith Jackson, Michelle Brockway, and Monica Perkins want to spend on getting the flippin' script right, you should be working on your energy. How do you work on your energy? By driving things home in your mindset. How do you drive things home in your mindset? Here it is. You listen to a positive, motivating, personal development audio every flipping day. And the only way I know how to get it done is first thing in the morning. If you want to ensure you're getting it done, then as you get up in the morning, flip something on that's audio oriented. I don't care whether you look good, your hair's good, you have bad breath and bad head. I don't care if you've got your coffee yet. I don't care if you're stepping into a shower. Listen to personal development things first thing out of bed, and your day will change. When you go to eat lunch today, instead of looking at the news, listening to sports, checking an MLS that you've got a million of them to check, why don't, while you're eating lunch for the 5 to 20 minutes, listen to something that's personally developing you. Because the world's got you for 23 and a half hours a day. You better own 30 minutes of it. If not, it'll beat you down. Oh my gosh, Eric, I came here to learn what to say to people. You're exhausted when you say it. You're exhausted. First ingredient, personal development information. What do I listen to? Monica Perkins asks, and I go back to this statement. I listen to everything in the freedomteamsupport.com page under Brain Bucket. There's a reason why those audios are there. Myself and my partners put them there. That's what we listen to. And if the first 7 or 8 audios or videos don't motivate you, then I would recommend you start finding something that will before you start making your calls. I'm going to say this again, and it bothers some people when I say this because they're like, well, I just want to know what to say so I can start making calls. The minute someone eats your lunch, you're going to stop making calls unless your mindset's strong enough. I love watching people on video as I'm talking. And that's why Marco and Taylor and David and Kyle, I'm okay if you're not on video. But when I say something and Kevin and Keith keep going like this, I know I'm getting through. And my job is to get through. So if the more of you I see, the easier it is I see who I'm getting through to. And when I see somebody that's not getting through, I know what I'm looking for. I've been doing this for a while. So in 9 minutes, I will shift this and tell you what to say and what to do. But for the next 9 minutes, I'm going to stick with the first ingredient. And that ingredient is, I don't think you are strong enough to run 100 yards full speed. But you have full control over doing that. And the way to do it is to run 5 yards every day. And the way you run 5 yards every day, it's crazy. By those of you that are looking at me, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you agree with these statements. I should probably do more cardio than I do on a daily basis. Raise your hand. If I got up and just walked around the house, the perimeter of it 5 times, would that be more cardio than I normally do on a daily basis? Raise your hand. Could you walk around 5 times? Would you miss it? You wouldn't miss it, but it would help your cardio. And you'd walk around it day after day after day. Let me ask another question. If you lifted just one stack of books and moved it from one side of your office to the other, how many of you, by lifting that alone, are lifting more than you normally lift on a daily basis at any one time? Raise your hand. So start moving books. Well, here's what I want everybody to understand. When I ask you to go through a cardio change, I'm not asking you to do everything. I'm asking you to do the things that don't take talent. What I'm about to start asking you to do in Agent Attraction does not take talent. It takes you getting off the couch and walking around the house 5 times and sitting back down. And by the 4th time you do that, you'll get better. And a month later, you'll get significantly better. And by month number 3, you'll quit watching television from the couch. You'll watch it standing up. Why? And by the way, that's just an analogy. What it means is I want to get Agent Attraction so penetrated into your psyche that it is a dominant habit. So you don't have to wake up every day and go, am I going to make calls? Should I make calls? I don't want to make calls. What I want you to be doing is, why do I keep making these stupid calls? I want you to actually react to the, right now you sit there and go, golly, why am I keep cursing? Why do I keep grabbing coffee? Why do I keep grabbing a cigarette? Why do I not do sit-ups when I know I should be? Why do I eat the last piece of chocolate cake on a day that I've had a perfect day of eating? The answer is, I want you to get mad at yourself because all you're ever thinking about and doing is making calls. And the reason I say that is because what I'm about to tell you on how to make $132,000 a year, that averages out to $11,000 plus a month. And the way you get there is by doing what I'm about to tell you is easier than getting off your couch and walking around the house 5 times. I promise you it's easier. Here's the problem. It's just as hard to become a habit. And that's why you're likely not to do it. So before I transition, I need to tell you why you're going to fail. You're going to fail because you won't do the basic things. And you're going to be too caught up in doing the big things right. Most athletic teams, they get to the playoffs, especially in football this year, by just doing the basic things right. And I'm going to draw an analogy for those of us that are football freaks, and you won't believe it. As of right now, if the 7 teams in the AFC went to the playoffs, they all have #1 first round drafted, and almost all of them first 9 picks drafted quarterbacks. Every one of the AFC has #1 first draft picks in the AFC. In the NFC, all the teams except for one have old quarterbacks or quarterbacks that were not anything coming out of college, including a guy named Tom Brady, right? Who was drafted in like the 6th round. Why am I telling you that for people that are non-athletic people? Here's what I need you to know. I don't know if you're a first round draft pick. But everyone that's here is at least good enough to do what I'm about to say, whether you were the best coming out of college, in this case, the best realtor. You may not be the best realtor, but you can do what I'm about to show you. And the excuse that, oh, it's too hard, is your excuse a year from now when you wave at everybody else's ship that's leaving except for yours. Your ship's going to have $132,000 replenished every year and growing. All you got to do is learn the 2 things that I've covered in this first 30 minutes. First, everything that happens between now and freedom. And 2, don't worry about it. You're going to get rich. That's what you need to know in your mindset. If your mindset is, now here it is, ready? This closes the door to the first half hour. If your mindset is, this message is just too good. If I can get it in front of enough people, they are going to say yes. So it's my job to just get it in front of enough people. And if they're the right people at the right time, they're going to say yes. Sean, anything to add?
What's going through my mind is everybody on here, not that we need to go around, but I'm just curious, maybe even a show of hands, how many people, when they first saw this, when they first saw EXP, however you saw it, you came on board within the first 30 days? Just out of curiosity, how many people? Okay, so a handful of the ones that are on camera.
Half.
Yeah, I'm always just curious because sometimes you can go around and round, and we can do it even at another time, but what was it that brought you on board, right? Was it something about the message? Did it catch you at the right time? Were you just tired of your old broker? Whatever it is, sometimes just understanding, how did all these people join EXP? Well, everybody said yes. And it's just kind of to think it through. Like Eric's saying, you make enough calls, set enough appointments, there's going to be a handful that just keep saying yes, just like you did. It's just a numbers game, right? And create that habit. That's the main thing I'm getting from what you're driving home, Eric, is just creating that habit, continue to feed the mind with the positive reinforcement that we need to get up and do what we need to do. And I love that whole statement, right? Between now and freedom, everything's going to happen. Just keep making the calls. But anyway, that was just my thought of think about yourself, what made you come on board, or some of the people you brought on board, and just know it's just a numbers game. Keep calling up people, and the right people will see it that are looking.
Thank you, Mr. Sean. Of course, Kathy, anytime you need to add something, pop in. You got something to add on it? We good?
I'm good. You know, well, let me just say this quick thing. You've said this a couple of times, especially the last couple of weeks, is more people are going to join from people you haven't spoken to yet than the ones that you have spoken to, you know. So, you know, for people who are maybe just on this for the first time and just getting started, and they feel maybe like they're behind the 8 ball, like that resonates, I think, or, you know, hopefully will help, you know, inspire them that, you know, hey, it's going to be the people you talk to from today forward that are going to be more likely to join than the ones any of us have talked to in the past.
I want everybody to realize, thanks, Kathy. I want everybody to realize this as we begin to transition. Marco, I'm going to handle your question first, and then I'll run to my second half. So Marco will be ready for me in just a minute. I want to remind everybody that it's not about the money. It's about your goals. And your goals were my goals, and my goals were your goals. Every realtor has the same two goals coming into real estate. We want unlimited income and we want flexible schedule. And we just haven't figured out how to do that. I have figured out how to have unbelievable income and control over my schedule. And it's called rev share. Because the bigger your rev share group is, the less you're concerned about transactions that are infiltrating your blessed calendar. And those dang clients that you just don't want to be working with, but you're still working with them because you still have bills to pay. When you have $132,000 a year on a ship, whether you sell real estate or not, you will think about your real estate career differently. Now, how do we get that 132,000? We do a little bit every day. We eat an elephant one bite at a time. None of us get. The odds will say 72% of the people that are in right now in this Zoom, 72% weigh more today than you weighed a year ago. And as much as you all think that was because of the last week of eating, you're wrong. It was because of January, February, March, April, May, chocolate chip cookies, pizza, and fast food. Milkshakes, desserts, birthday parties, flipping birthday parties. If I didn't have to go to birthday parties, I'd be in incredible shape. Think about it, people. 11th commandment, thou shalt not drive thyself. Marco had a question, then he left, but that's okay. Anybody got a question? Now's the time to jump on and ask. I'm about to roll into the 2 segments you came for. But again, if you missed the first segment, the next 2 won't matter. Anybody have a question before I transition? Good deal, good deal. So let's start with this. I don't think it's easy to hit a moving target. I'm going to make an assumption that every one of you are good enough realtors to pass the real estate exam. I'm going to make an assumption that you're good enough realtors, not only do that, but you saw EXP and went, wow, I think I want to be there, which makes you smarter than many of the other agents. So the fact that you think I'm not credible, I'm not sure as smart as anybody else, you are smarter and more credible than most. You made the right decision. Now we'll go to the third decision, which is actually the biggest decision of them all. You've now come to a class to learn how to do what you need to do so you don't have to worry about transactions forever. I'm going to say it again. You've decided to spend an hour learning how to do something so you don't have to do something you don't want to do forever. Good decision. So what do you want to learn? Real simple. It's all the acronym called LISA. L stands for make a list. I stands for invite them to look. S stands for show them the presentation. And A stands for answer questions. LISA, list, invite, show, answer. When you learn how to make a list properly, you'll never have to learn it again. So learn it. When you learn how to invite someone properly, you'll never have to learn it again. So learn it. When you learn how to show the program, whether you do it live or someone else does it on a video, once you learn how to show it properly, you never have to learn it again. And the last thing is answer questions. Once you learn how to answer questions properly, then you'll never have to learn it again. And you can learn all 4 of those things before you go to bed tonight. So why wake up on January 3rd and not know it? If so, you're delaying your success. Oh, Eric, there's got to be more into it than that. Nope, there isn't. I'm going to teach you how to make a list. I'm going to teach you how to invite people. I'm going to teach you where to show them the presentation. And I'm going to teach you how to answer every question. And we're going to do it all today in this recording. And then in the last 15 minutes, we're going to talk about how to do it all, how to fit it in with all this crazy real estate that you're writing. And look at your calendar. You're not writing a lot of real estate. You're just in a lot of real estate. Remember, agents only get paid from 3 things: listing property, showing property, and negotiating contracts. And if you're doing anything other than those three things, you're not selling houses. You're setting up selling houses. And you should get out of the setting up business and into the selling business. How's that sound? We'll help you do it. You're welcome to the Freedom Team. Okay. David, you like this. And this is better than a comedy show, Mr. Durant, right, Doran? Isn't it? Okay. Here we go. List. How do you make a list? 3 ways to make a list. I'm not asking you if it's easy. I don't care. Some of you, if you knew there was gold in your backyard, you'd complain about the cost of shovels. I swear you would. Some of you say, it's raining, I'll wait till it's sunny. Some of you say there's snow on the ground. I would say move. But the bottom line to it is, here's 3 ways to make a list. Number 1, make a list of every agent you've ever done a transaction with. Include in that list everyone you've ever talked to that you still have their contact information. That's your first list. How long should that take you to do? For most of you, it should not take you longer than an hour or 2. For some of you, it will take a weekend. And David Doran, if it takes a weekend, give it a weekend. If it only takes you guys an hour, give it an hour. Here's the second list. I want you to make a list of every agent you know that you've never met. All the ones in your local area, all the ones on the billboards, on the benches, all the ones that do advertising, all the ones you're familiar with, anywhere in the country. That's your second list. Your third list, starting tomorrow, you text every A in your phone book, in your contact, every A, you text them this. By the way, if you want to know where this is, it's at the 36th minute of the recording. You don't have to write it down. Just go to the 36th minute. Where am I going to find it? I'll find it in 2 places, on the Freedom Team feed and workplace, and it'll also be added to in freedomteamsupport.com into the ones right in the middle, in the second line. It'll be there, agent attraction recordings. But here's what you say. You text this out. Hey, Jim. By the way, if their name's not Jim, don't call them Jim. Hey, Jim. Looking for a good real estate agent in your area of, be specific. If all you know is Kentucky, put Kentucky. If you know Bowling Green, put Bowling Green. If you put White Plains, put White Plains. But hey, Jim, looking for a good real estate agent in your area of whatever, could you shoot me a text with a name or 2? I would really appreciate it. Let's catch up soon. Do all the A's tomorrow, do all the B's on Wednesday, do all the C's on Thursday. And in 26 days, you will have names and numbers of agents that you don't know. And then you'll come back to this call and you'll say, Eric, what do I say to people that I don't know? That's how to make a list. If you have a question specifically about that, raise your hand now or come on the microphone. Anybody? 3 ways to make a list. You should now know how to make one. There isn't another way. Use one of those 3. How do I invite them? Here's how you invite them. You grab a script. Where do I find the script? It's one of the pinned posts in the Freedom Team group in Workplace. It may also be in freedomteamsupport.com under agent attraction scripts. It sounds like this. Hey, Marco, Eric with EXP. Hope you're doing well. Listen, you probably know EXP is exploding everywhere. I'm not asking you to change brokerages, but 80,000 agents have come to the company over the last 4 or 5 years. They come at about 1,000 people a week. I'm not asking you to change brokerage, Jim, but your volume's ideal for one of our programs. Have you happened to see our 2023 agent presentation? I'd love to get you in front of it. Whether you decide to move or not, it's totally up to you. Blah, 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 blah. It's that simple. It's recorded in memory. So the invite is there, and then you should personalize it. Personalize it means this. Don't change it. That's what it means. Until you have to. But learn what we're telling you to say because it works, and then add what you have to add to it. Don't try adding what we do to your script. It's found again, pinned post, Freedom Team page in Workplace. How do we show them? Well, the best thing ever is for you to meet with them in person and do a live presentation with the slides. The second best thing is to meet them on Zoom and do a live presentation with slides. The third thing is to meet them on Zoom and do a recorded presentation. And there are 2 recordings that everyone uses from this group. The first one is found at themodelexplained.com. It's the one most people in the company use. The second one's found at moremoneyforrealtors.com. The password for that is all lowercase, real estate, no spaces. Moremoneyforrealtors.com, real estate, no spaces. The worst way to show it is to send someone a presentation and say, let's get together after you've watched it. It's better than nothing. And by the way, if you have that kind of mentality, then we recommend you use a CRM specifically for following up through agent attraction. We use something called CRM Grow. If you want to know more about that, come today or Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern. Come to the concierge hour, talk to Kim. She'll talk about CRM Grow. Again, 2 o'clock Eastern, Monday and Thursday. So we show the program using generally those 2 presentations, or we do it live. Some of you are part of Jay Nelson's group. Jay does he or his leaders do a number of live presentations a week. It's also a great way to bring them. Guys, don't get tired now. We got 17 minutes to go and it's magical. See, your cardio's already wasted. I'm just giving you an idea of what it's like. You guys have now heard enough about agent attraction where you're tired rather than motivated. And that's because you're not carved up. You're not ready to go. I'm not criticizing it. I'm just trying to prove a point. This audio and video should be magical for you to re-listen to over and over and over. Why? Because you're not going to get it all the first time. I've covered how to make a list. Kevin, yes or no? Keith, I've covered how to invite people. Yes or no? Lee, have I covered how to show people? Yes or no? Now, how do you answer questions? Here's how you answer them. You ready, everybody? Every question you get is answered this way. Yep, that's a great question.
Let's bring me in here and show me something I'm reading. That.
Yep, that's a great question. Listen, let me go ahead and get my partner Jim on the phone so he can answer it for you the same way he would have answered that for me. And you get someone else to answer your questions if you're relatively new. How do you do that? You set up a presentation, then you scramble around for your partners, your upline sponsor, their sponsor, to help you with that presentation. Let them guide you through that, and they will also be there to help you conclude it. So I want you to understand, you can make a list on your own. You can invite people on your own. You can show the program using a video on your own. But I don't recommend you answer questions from the beginning on your own. Here's why. Because then they will be judging you as their leader rather than judging EXP as their leader. Nothing personal against you, but I don't know how they know you. And it may not be as prominent as you want them to know you. That's how agents that are not very successful sponsor other successful agents. They pick up the phone and they say, I'd love to connect you to my partner. He's been in the industry or she's been in the industry for 16 years, brokered a number of brokerages, and she wants to talk to you. Okay? That's the middle 15 minutes. That's what we do. 4 things: make a list, contact by inviting them, show them, and answer questions. Anybody have a question or an add-on? I got 15 minutes left. Anybody? Tim, is this gonna make
Just a comment.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Really amazing motivation and information you just provided for everyone. I hope everyone is taking notes. I mean, even if you just do one thing, like you said, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. One thing today, you know, there's 306, is this a 365-day year? Yeah, we've got 364 more days to make this all happen. And, you know, I'm really stoked for the market to improve this year. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, you're welcome. Here's what's interesting. We can't control the market, but we can control whether the ship has the right personnel when it leaves in a year. I want to remind everybody just things I've said today. You have a ship that's leaving a year from now with $132,000 on it. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like in a minute. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like, because the ship looks the same for all of us. Oh, but everybody's rev share group is different. It's not going to be in this group. This group will all have the exact same ship. You know why? Because I'm going to drive this ship so far into your subconscious that you're going to wake up looking for shipmates. You're literally going to be looking for the right people, because you're looking for people that are swimming towards the ship. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. So you're out there in the middle of nowhere, America, and you sponsor an agent. And if that agent is a capping agent, I'm going to remind you, if it's a capping agent, you're going to make $2,800 off of their effort as they sell $3 million. And we're going to teach you over the next 4 weeks. Now that you've brought them, we're going to teach you how to help them, right? Think about recruiting while you're going to find a second. Because you're going to go out there over the next year and put 6 agents in. And when you've brought in 6 agents, not worrying about what those agents do, other than they're all selling 3 million or more. And how do you know they're selling 3 million or more? Here's a good indicator, people. You ready? If they sold 3 million or more last year, they're more likely to sell 3 million this year than if they didn't. So the first thing I'm going to recommend is you guys talk to agents who've all sold 3 million or more last year in 2022. If they haven't, you should potentially still practice on them, but they won't count in my mind, or shouldn't in yours, if they don't cap. You just made $16,800, just so you know, people, that's $800 more than your $16,000. You just, oh, you're over 100%. Now you can tell people, man, I'm making over 100% at my brokerage. They're like, how do you make over 100%? You say, let me show you how. Now, by the way, since you're an expert at helping agents come, you're going to be an expert at helping them bring their best friend. And when they do that, you now have $36,000 in that little ship, which isn't 132, but I need everybody to see this and hear this. If you don't get to the ship that's got 36,000, you're not going to build the ship to 132. So let me remind you what it's going to look like. David, did you say your friend with you is Abel? Abel, are you able to see my screen right now? You ready? You can see my screen. Well, if you can see my screen, understand, you just help 6 bring 1. But when you help 6 bring 6, you're now making $132,000 a year if they're all capping agents. I want everybody to see that picture. If you're drawing things out, draw that picture. You get 6, they each get 1, you make 36 a year. You get 6, they each bring 6, you're making 132. Let me remind everybody of something. I want you to look at me, please, for a moment. It'll change your life. Making $10,000 a month in month number 2 and month number 3 that you didn't produce with your own effort this month is something you've never experienced. It's like having a gas and oil well that works. It's like having an investment property where they don't steal your copper wiring. Right? It's like having a second business where the employees don't call off. And it's been so long since any of you've ever gotten any gratuity like that, that you flippin' don't realize what it feels like. Let me tell you how to accomplish this. And it pisses me off because there's 34 people on it live. There'll be another 200 that watch this recorded. And you're all going to watch this in recording. And if you don't, I commonly say the word moron. I don't want to do that since I've just met you. I'm going to say this. You have a benefit of being able to listen to the recording again. What would you call yourself if you didn't? Whatever that word is, if it sounds like moron, would be the word I'd agree with. This is how you build a $132,000 a year income stream. And you know how to make a list now. And you know how to invite people now. And oh my gosh, you know what presentations to show them. And you now know that you'll get help with answering questions. So there's only one reason why you won't do it. And here's the reason. You ready? I'm afraid. That's not the reason. If you're afraid and you don't do it, it's because you're foolish. If you're fearful, you just tell us, I'm afraid. You're supposed to tell us, I'm afraid. And then we're going to come back on Monday next week and we're going to say to you, so Paul, why are you afraid? You go, I'm afraid to even tell you. Well, then tell me what you're afraid of. I'm afraid. And we're going to do these on Mondays. On Mondays, I'm not going to go through all this every Monday. I'm going to point everybody back to January 2nd's recording. See, I'm a smart guy. I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to handle all your I'm afraid questions. Oh, they answered the phone and they hung up on me. I'm afraid. Isn't that everything that's going to happen between now and freedom? Oh, they told me they were going to meet me on Zoom and they didn't show up. What did you do during that hour? Here's what some of you did. Yes, I don't have to show it. And some of you were like, oh, it doesn't work. I'm telling you, people, there's only one reason why you won't do it. I'm telling you right now, and it's not your fear. There's only one thing that'll beat your fear. And it's not your dream, because your dream won't beat your fear. You can put the most beautiful dessert on the other side of a snake, and I'm not going through the snake. I don't care how bad I want the dessert. I don't believe that the dream is big enough. The facts don't count. The facts count. That snake is real. So let me tell you how to beat the snake. You've got to create a habit that doesn't see the snake at all. I'm going to close out the next 6 minutes with creating a habit, because you've entrusted an hour to me. And those of you that are smart enough, one person got off the call. Not very smart. Good things happen at the end, especially if I tell you good things happen at the end. I'm going to teach you how to create a habit. Those people over the last year that did this created a habit. Some of them are still following it. Some of them are not. The ones that are not following it are going, shoot. I should just go back to that thing. They're the ones that are smiling real big and now covering their face with drinking fluids. I'm telling you, this works. As soon as I hang up, you have 2 responsibilities today. Number 1, go to CVS and buy what I'm about to tell you. And number 2, get on the business of doing it. This is called an index card. It's got lines on one side. It's blank on the other. On the back side of this, every night, I want you to write your goal of why you're building your rev share. Every night, before you go to bed, every night. I don't care if you do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or at midnight. Every night you write on the back of this card why you are going to build your rev share. And more importantly, ready? On the front of the card, you're going to write 5 names and phone numbers of agents. 5. And you're going to remind yourself by looking on the back, The reason I'm going to call these 5 in the front is because I want what's on the back. And there's no snake, Keith or Paul or Kathy or Brian or Tyler. There's no snake on the card. So all you're going to do is look at that first thing in the morning. You're going to wait from 9 a.m. to show up. And unless you got a closing at 9 a.m., you're grabbing that card. And when you're done with the card, what you're literally going to do is you're going to grab the card. You're going to take the 5 names. They're going to come from some spreadsheet, but you're going to put them on the card the night before. And then once you're done making those calls, because you wrote what you wanted, you wrote the names, you just go like this and you throw it away because it is done and you're on to the next day. You deal 2 things happen when you've done that. Number 1 is internally, you're driving the habit to a success. You're repeating it. You're closing the loop by closing the sheet. And the second thing you're doing by not doing it is you're falling further behind. I want to leave you with this thought. Every day you don't do what I just did, you are actually further behind. And here's why. Because now you're going to keep on thinking, I should have started on the 3rd. I should have started on the 3rd. I should have started on the 3rd. Because I promise you this, January 3rd becomes February 3rd, and then March 3rd, then April 3rd. And you don't, and then it's January 3rd, 2024. I will be back here every Monday, save just a few, and it will be different, but feel the same. You're going to get guidance, direction. You're going to get a little bit of humor, a little bit of inspiration, a lot of education. But what you're going to get more than anything else is a clear view of what's slowing you down and a clear view of what will quicken you up. You don't come here to learn from me. You come here to find out what information I have so you can learn from yourself. Because if I were you, I would just do the 4 things and get it flipping done. But you're not me. You got to deal with you. As we close out today, I want to make sure that you understand all we talked about today was instilling a brand new habit and one that doesn't take talent. So you can develop 6 agents who all come in knowing they're going to get 6 on their own. And then you tell them on the way in, well, let's start with who's your best friend. Let's bring them while you're coming. Then go get number 2. Then go get number 3. And before you know it, you got 3 agents. 2 of them are working on their 6. One of them you can't find anymore. You got to replace them. But if you will leave at the end of this year and your ship looks like this at the end of this year and everybody's capping, you're making 11 grand a month on average and 132,000. I promised you this week that I would be bringing the heat with 132,000 a year is yours. So let's go. Next week, just so you know, the topic for next week is $11,000 per month guaranteed. And I'm going to give you some insight. If you've done the work over the next week, where next week you are asking me questions about things you're doing or not doing, then you've already started the week and it's already guaranteed because you're going to bring in 6 who bring in 6 because you've got 364 days to look for them. If you don't do the work between now and next Monday and you don't come next Monday, you're lost. If you do come back next Monday and you haven't done the work, you'll have wasted a week of time, but you haven't wasted a week of mindset. You coming back a week after failing the first week makes you a stronger you. You not coming back leads to you not coming back in week number 3. I'm excited about what you're all going to achieve. It's going to be a year of a whole bunch of ships leaving one harbor with a whole bunch of money. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget tomorrow, more transactions with Jeff Morrell and Kathy Carter. Make it a great year, my friends.
Thank you, Eric.